Hello, I'm Jonathan, and welcome to the Tamworth FC Social, a podcast all about Tamworth Football Club. The Lambs returned to winning ways at the weekend. This time, we're going to take a quick look back on last week's two away matches. We'll get to Sutton United away in a second, but Graham, York City away last Tuesday, you were there. Second year in a row, I think you've done that away day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I went last year, right at the second game of the season, wasn't it? But it felt like very, very similar to last year. Yeah, I mean it's a nice ground to go to be honest. It feels a bit like going to a football league game. I was surrounded by York fans in a bar beforehand, and yeah, it was a nice atmosphere there. I do quite like their ground. But yeah, I mean the game itself was a tough one for Tamworth. I mean, it was a bit of a free hit really after those good couple of wins. I suppose we defended really really well in the first half. I mean, York were just they played some really good football, and we'd obviously set up to basically just stop them from scoring. But we had a couple of breakaways and perhaps you could have got something, but I mean, York were very, very good. Once you got to the second half, then they started putting their chances away and they did score some good goals. I was a bit disappointed, I think, because I thought it's a shame that we just sort of maybe didn't let the shackles off a little bit and perhaps just go for it a little bit more, rather than just sort of setting up to defend straight from the start. Because in the end, it didn't really make much difference. We still lost by 4 goals. Perhaps if we'd have lost by 4 goals and maybe given it a bit more of a go, then yeah. But I mean, it's probably quite difficult. As soon as you start opening up any space for York, then they're probably just going to tear you apart, to be honest. So it's a bit of a fine balance, but. Yeah, I thought we might be a bit more adventurous in that game, but we weren't. But yeah, it was a good evening, and yeah, the players put in a lot of effort. There's no doubt about that, like they always do. I think York were just they're a very good team, and I probably expect them to be at the top end of the league come the end of the season.
It was a 0-0 at half time, wasn't it, at York? And
Yeah,
then the flurry of
yeah.
goals in the second half.
I did have fun myself looking at the scoreboard quite a lot at the time, every 5 minutes, just thinking, gotta get to half time, gotta get to half time. Almost reminded me of the Spurs game. But yeah, I think York at home are a very formidable outfit, I would say. They're not going to lose many points there this season.
I wonder, Brett, if these are the kind of matches like York City away that we're kind of just gonna have to get used to almost, or the kind of results we're gonna have to get used to. Because last season there was the odd thrashing, I suppose, for Tamworth, like the Barnet 7-0, the Oldham 4-0, and the Rochdale 3-0. I guess the good thing with the York one is though Tamworth bounced back straight away.
Yeah, and I think, we said a similar thing last year as well, that our season won't be defined by going to York and losing 4-0. It won't be defined by if we go on to lose 4-0 at Rochdale, Forest Green. Those games and those results won't define our season. What will be the results that we pick, the results that we get from the teams below us in the table. And we've started in a similar vein to how we went on last season, where we were really consistently winning or playing well against the teams below us, or we definitely weren't losing against the team below us. And ultimately, that's what kept us up and projected us up the table. And I think, that'll be similar now, which is obviously that's why we're kind of halfway up, because we've won the winnable games.
Talking of wins, Tamworth did beat Sutton United 3-2 away on Saturday. I was there. I had a very exciting first half to enjoy in that game, and I thought more like the old Tamworth almost in that did do what they need to do in the first half, and then second half it was sort of a different game and seeing it out almost. Second half a few chances, but it was a good win in the end. The only downside would be, and again there was so many positives. The goals were quite poor goals to concede, I thought, and very avoidable.
I think the second one was it was just kind of collection of errors, wasn't it, really? I think Banks gets sucked in from a defensive misalignment, really, and then Jazz comes out as a result. When you make mistakes and win, again, that's going to breed confidence. I just think that, like, as long as we don't make too many of them, then I think we'll be fine. There are people having a debate on social media about whether Jaz Singh should or shouldn't be dropped. I don't think it's something really we should be debating on here, but I do just want to say on that, I think that against York, while there was a mistake from Jazz that cost us a goal, first half, he saved loads. And when you set up in a way where you're just trying to keep the opposition at bay, your goalkeeper's going to come under a hell of a lot of pressure. So mistakes are going to come. But I think in terms of Jazz's game, I don't really think his performance has dropped any more than it has over the last couple of years for us. I just think that we're putting him under so much pressure. No one's perfect. You could have a Premier League goalkeeper do the exact same thing, and eventually you make a mistake.
I'm not going to labour the point that Brett's just said because everything that he said is what I totally agree with. I just don't even think it's a question for me. It's the positives massively outweigh any negatives. And as Brett said, he made some really decent saves against York. And yeah, unfortunately, there was just a couple of slip ups, but yeah, he's been one of our best players and most reliable players for the past 5, 6 seasons. We wouldn't be where we are without him, really. So for me, it's just it's not even a debate.
Thought I'd also give just shouts to a few players who really impressed me, like Tyler Roberts. He would be my man of the match from Saturday. Got a goal from the Tom Tonks long throw, got the assist for Duku's goal, and then won the penalty as well. Was just everywhere. Like put such a good shift in. I thought Tom Tonks actually central midfield like ran his legs off. I thought Donkor as well. Like Graham, you've I think last time said how impressed you've been with him. Like he was just excellent. Like a different kind of fullback maybe to what
Mm.
Tamworth have had. I thought a few times actually where it didn't the move didn't quite happen, but where I could sort of see it maybe in other matches like really being an attacking outlet for Tamworth. Um,
Good wing back, isn't he? Like that's what he is. He's a wing back, but he does his defensive duties really well as well. I think he's a really good like raw talent we've got there.
and another goal for Duku as well, which is really good. Just keeps him, you know, ticking over, I suppose, as the main centre forward at the moment, which is good. And I thought it was a really good finish. Like having the Tamworth had just seen their 2-0 lead pegged back to 2-2. And then I think pretty much straight from kickoff, Tamworth just go on the attack and a very nice move finished off by Ducky.
Really good goal, to be fair. From open play, that could be like our best goal this season we've scored, in my opinion, as a sort of team goal.
Something I've spotted as well, if you look at the league table, 3 of the 4 defeats that Tamworth have been against teams who are in the playoff positions.
It's just good that we've beaten the teams that are in and around us or below us, I think, at the moment. Like Brett said, we're just carrying on from last season with obviously we got a point against Brackley, but I mean, I think that was probably arguably a pretty good point. Now, when you look back at it, Brackley have had some decent results. So as we're going into these next few games, I'm sort of like, very confident here going into this because we do play better at home. We are a different team at home. We look like a completely different team. But sometimes we're taking this form into the away games just like we were last season, and it's quite exciting, really.
So it is Yeovil and Wealdstone at home for Tamworth as the next National League matches. We did our predictions for these in our last episode, so we'll urge you to go listen back to that if you want to know what we said. But we've got to be feeling very confident now after I think the Sutton United performance is just sort of it's the bounce back from the York defeat, but then it's also there's so many positives then to take forward.
I think these next 2 games are really interesting because you've got Yeovil have appointed the new manager now. That will be an interesting one on the weekend because again they're going to want to look to kick on a game that both teams think will look at it and go, we could get something out of this. And then Wealdstone equally probably a carbon copy of us this year. I'm interested. I'll be at the Wealdstone game, so I'll be interested to see what it's like.
Give Nathan Shakuna a warm welcome back to his old stomping ground as well.
I think we've got to be confident going into these games. I mean, Yeovil, like, they've had such an indifferent start to the season, but new manager and everything. It's a long trip for them. But I think, yeah, we just got to be confident going into that because we've had such good results and we're back at home. No reason why we can't get a result there. Yeah, and then Wealdstone, I think that'll be quite an interesting game. And we come out of that with, if we come out of that with 2 wins, I mean, yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. If we come out of it 4 points, brilliant. Come out with 0, not great, um, but I'm pretty confident going into those games.
Right, we'll leave it there for this episode of the Tamworth FC Social podcast. Don't forget you can follow us on social media at TFC Social Pod. If you enjoy the podcast, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and give this episode a like. It really helps us grow our audience. Till next time, goodbye.